Out in a week. Julia, thank you. When we come back, a cult classic and America's labor force. So one of the oldest fast food chains in the nation is mounting a comeback. The CEO of A&W will join us. Squawk on the Street. We'll be right back. 5 years yesterday, driving the Dow all the way up. Speaking of staples and food, the Trump administration introducing the RAISE Act yesterday, taking a harder line on immigration while slashing the annual distribution of green cards by more than 50%. It's an initiative that intends to curb foreign workforce growth. For more on how the RAISE Act may impact the food service industry, we're joined now by Kevin Bazner, the president and CEO of one of the oldest fast food restaurant chains in the country, A&W. Welcome to Post 9.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me here this morning.
Well, good to have you here, and we want to talk to you about the business and your expansion, but we turn to lead with this new Immigration RAISE Act since the president has supported it. There are questions about what it would mean for the labor force in the restaurant industry in particular. What do you think?
Well, I mean, certainly it affects the labor force, but for us, it really has very little impact. The bulk of our business is in rural, small-town America. So we really depend more on the local labor force than we do on immigration. So it really doesn't affect our business specifically very much. Industry as a whole, probably somewhat.
I would think the agriculture industry as well, farming, which you touched.
Oh, that's already having an effect on farming, and this will only exacerbate that, I would think. But
what are you seeing in rural America in terms of income growth and economic situation and consumer behavior?
Well, we're seeing a move back to rural America, and that's the roots of A&W is in rural America. We're having great success. We're having great success with new development. We're having great success with our sales. We're having great success with the labor force in rural America. So we're doing just fine in rural America. In fact, that's a big part of our growth strategy is targeting rural America.
We've heard some others in QSR. Bojangles had some comments about wage pressure, having to pay more to keep and attract employees. Are you seeing that? And can you make up for it in pricing? Well,
certainly wage pressure leads to price increases, right? The reality of it is, given today's labor market, is the market forces are creating an environment where you have to pay to attract talent, and raising minimum wage, for example, only puts further upward pressure on it. But it's really the marketplace that dictates wages in the stores, and you got to get for more productivity, and there is pressure on the ability to take price in the industry right now. So it's really having an effect more on productivity gains that we have to get.
I'm wondering what you're doing, if anything, on technology and delivery in particular. Yum Brands had earnings, your former parent company,
That's
many
correct.
years ago. They say 20,000 of its global restaurants, which is almost half right now, are offering delivery, and that's really taking off, leading to higher average check sizes and helping the business. Are you doing anything on that front?
We're certainly aware of that and everything else that's going on in the industry, but specifically not so much. Again, with our roots in rural America and urban America, rural America, that our consumers are coming into the restaurant. They want to come into the restaurant. So we don't see a lot of pressure. We do a lot with drive-through and carry-out business, but really not so much in terms of delivery.
Maybe getting a call.
I know, you're getting a phone call.
You're very popular on television.
You can hear the vibration.
The thing I said before I came on set
now we lost you.
was to make sure my cell phone didn't ring.
That's all right.
It was rural America
I've seen
calling.
that happen to other guests.
When you talk about the success of the labor force, which I think you said, what does that mean? What do you mean you're having success with your labor force?
Well, in rural America, we are just really not having as much problem getting qualified talent in those markets. I think there's a demand for jobs there, and with our growth strategy, I mean, we're growing for the first time in over a decade as an independent brand, and we've had great success over the last 5 years, both in growing our same-store sales, outperforming the industry, as well as new growth and positive store counts for the first time in over a decade.
How big can store count get, and does that mean you're going to be more dispersed over other geographies in the U.S.?
Well, we're really focused, again, rural America, upper Midwest, Pacific Northwest, Northern California. Those are really the strong spots for the brand in really where our roots are.
But no national strategy in the
not yet.
pipe.
Not yet. We do have a strong international presence as well, primarily in Southeast Asian countries. Those markets were actually started by veterans, if you may, Speaking of veterans, Sunday is National Root Beer Float Day, and we are raising money system-wide for disabled American veterans, and we hope to raise over $150,000. And we've raised, as a brand, we've raised over $550,000 over the last 4 years with veteran-related associations. So we feel very good about that.
Great
so
cause.
free root beer floats on Sunday.
Nice.
What's the secret to a great root beer float?
Secret to a great root beer float. Number one is you got to start with a frosted mug. Right?
Frosted mug.
Frosted mug, right? Frosted mug. Number two is you have to have made fresh A&W root beer, which we make fresh in all of our stores every day across the country and around the globe. Three is a high quality vanilla ice cream. We use soft serve in the store. But the big secret, in addition to those three key ingredients, put the root beer in first.
Huh.
Put the ice cream in first and volcano, right? Put the ice cream in and pour the root beer out, you get volcano.
So it's orderly.
Yeah.
Got it.
So are root beer sales slowing with the broader slowdown in soda consumption?
Actually, root beer is one of the only a handful of carbonated soft drinks that are seeing growth in the soft drinks industry, in the carbonated soft drinks.
Maybe it's the craft factor. We've got to leave it there.
Factor, which we bring into the stores. We make it in the stores.
Thank you for coming by, Kevin.
Great, appreciate
Happy Root Beer
guys.
Float Day.
Thank you very
We're all
much.
going to fight
Kevin
over that.
Basner.
There you
We're gonna put a bunch
good.
of straws in there. CEO of
Thank you, bud.
A&W.